My name is Alex, and I used to work the night shift at a convenience store. It was a small, quiet place on the edge of town, and nothing ever happened there, or so I thought. This is the story of the night that changed everything. It was a typical Tuesday night. The store was empty, and I was bored out of my mind. I was flipping through a magazine when the bell above the door rang. I looked up and saw a man walk in. He was tall and thin, with a long coat and a hat pulled low over his face. Something about him made me uneasy. "Good evening," I said, trying to sound friendly. The man didn't reply. He just walked down one of the aisles, his footsteps echoing in the empty store. I watched him from behind the counter, my unease growing. After a few minutes, he came up to the counter with a bottle of water. I rang it up and told him the price. He handed me the money without a word, his face still hidden in shadow. As I gave him his change, our fingers touched, and I felt a jolt of cold run through me. I pulled my hand back, startled. The man looked up then, and I saw his eyes. They were dark and empty, like black holes. I felt a wave of fear wash over me. "Is everything okay?" I asked, my voice trembling. The man didn't answer. He just stared at me for a long moment, his eyes boring into mine. Then, without a word, he turned and walked out of the store. The bell rang again as the door closed behind him. I stood there, shaken. Something about that man was not right. I tried to shake off the feeling and went back to my magazine, but I couldn't concentrate. I kept glancing at the door, expecting him to come back. An hour later, the bell rang again. I looked up and saw the same man walk in. My heart skipped a beat. He was carrying the bottle of water he had just bought, but it was now empty. He walked up to the counter and placed the empty bottle in front of me. "Is something wrong with the water?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The man didn't reply. He just stared at me with those empty eyes. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Do you want another bottle?" I asked. The man shook his head slowly. "No," he said, his voice low and raspy. "I want you to come with me." My blood ran cold. "What? Why?" "You have something I need," he said, his eyes never leaving mine. "I don't understand," I said, backing away from the counter. "You will," he said, taking a step towards me. I felt a surge of panic. I had to get out of there. I ran to the back of the store and into the storage room, slamming the door behind me. I leaned against the door, my heart pounding. For a moment, there was silence. Then, I heard the sound of footsteps outside the door. The man was coming after me. I looked around the storage room, desperate for a way out. There was a small window near the ceiling. I grabbed a box and climbed up, pushing the window open. I crawled through the window and dropped to the ground outside. I didn't stop to look back. I just ran. I ran as fast as I could, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I didn't stop running until I reached my apartment. I burst through the door and locked it behind me, my heart still pounding. I collapsed on the couch, trying to catch my breath. I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the man and his empty eyes. Who was he? What did he want from me? I didn't know, and I didn't want to find out. The next day, I called my boss and quit my job at the convenience store. I couldn't go back there. I couldn't face that man again. But the nightmares started soon after. I would dream of the convenience store, empty and dark. The man would be there, standing in the shadows, his eyes staring at me. He would whisper my name, telling me to come with him. I would wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding. I moved to a new town, hoping to escape the nightmares. But they followed me. No matter where I went, I couldn't escape the man and his empty eyes. It's been years since that night, but I still think about it. I still wonder who he was and what he wanted from me. I still have nightmares about him, and I still feel that chill when I remember his eyes. So if you ever find yourself working the night shift at a convenience store, be careful. You never know who might walk through the door. And if you see a man with dark, empty eyes, run. Don't look back. Just run. Because once he finds you, he never lets go.